Welcome to week 7 of The View from the Endzone. This week on our show, our guest is Tim Goodman from Alliance High School. He's got the Aviators at 5-1 at this point in the season and just coming off of a victory 49-34 over Salem. Sitting number 7 in the region, Division III, Region 9, is Coach Tim Goodman and his Alliance Aviators. Welcome, Coach.
Hey, Troy. Thanks for having me on.
You got things rolling. Things are working out real well for you this season. You guys are 5-1. You put together a lot of high-scoring football games. Coach, what's your secret to success this season?
We have a strong senior class. That's really what it boils down to. We have a lot of guys in the senior class that have been 2- and 3-year starters for us. And so with all that experience and that athleticism that we have and guys getting a lot of games under their belts, we've been able to play well on both sides of the football, get off to a good start this season.
Absolutely. I know that you've got some, when you say athletes, you do have athletes. You got some guys that can move both at running back, receiver, and quarterback. I told you earlier before we went on air, we have 17 clips tonight, so we're going to get right into the film, break things down. Anything you want to talk about as we go through that film, just let us know. We're going to start off with a 35-yard run by your quarterback here, Coach. This, I believe, is your first series or second series of the game?
Yeah, so JR is a heck of an athlete, obviously. But we wanted to get him some early touches in the run game, especially out of our spread personnel. We've been running the ball pretty well out of our tight end and H-back sets. Wanted to get him, a couple run looks out of our spread stuff there. Use a little motion to dress it up. And, like you said, we have really good athletes. We also have a really good offensive line. And you can see there that those guys did a really good job blocking for him. I don't think JR was touched until about 7 yards. And usually when JR gets head of steam at 7 yards, he's going to make at least 1 or 2 guys miss and turn a 7, 8, 9-yard gain to a 30-yard gain. So that was a good way to start off the game for us.
You're absolutely right, Coach. He has actually a lot of the runs you're going to see tonight. These guys are getting to the second level untouched. And then JR has that unique ability to stop and start, change direction, and really make it difficult on the defensive secondary.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what makes good players dynamic players, when they can make a guy miss and like we just said, take that 10-yard gain into a 20-yard gain by making one guy miss and then hit the next gear quickly like he does.
Oh yeah. All right, so our second is a touchdown run actually following that play by your tailback, and I had a note here. There's some great blocking.
Yeah, that's a traditional buck sweep right there, where you're pulling 2 guards, one kicks out, one leads through. We kind of broke a little tendency with us. We've been running a lot of, opposite the running back coming across his face on that. So we wanted to dress up this week and do a same side run. And that's tough to do for a running back, but Ravon's a really shifty guy who can get going downhill and suck the defense up and make a couple cuts. And the key to that is you follow your big guys. And he did a good job there following those big guys and let him to pay dirt, hit the next gear, and finish in the end zone. That's what we like to start. That's a great way to start the game for us.
Is that a little bit of the North Canton offense coming out with that buck sweep?
Yeah, we were doing quite a bit of buck sweep when I left North Canton, and hadn't done it as much when I first got to Alliance, but we had the line to do it this year. So that's as you know, that's a heck of a run fit. It's really hard to fit that run because it's off tackle, off tight end. You have great angles on the front side, and then you get a couple good pulling guys up in there. It's a heck of a play if you can execute it.
It's on my list of top 10 plays that I don't like to defend.
Yeah, that's why we run it a lot this year.
All right, so we're going to move into defense here, Coach. Your linebacker gets a nice TFL on this jet sweep by Salem.
Yeah, we had kind of seen that coming into the week that, out of that set with the twins away from their tight end and H-back, whenever they motion, they really like jet off it and they like jet and running counter back. So we kind of had in our game plan that we were going to bump our linebackers with that motion, but made sure we were still reading keys. And that's Brody Fast there, who leads our team in tackles by far. He's a heck of a player. He just has a nose for the football, and he's one of those throwback linebackers, see ball, get ball. So he took his couple read steps. He saw the front side guard reach block, and he just shot it. Our linebacker coach and defensive coordinator, Coach Kelman, always preaches cloudy, clear. And it was clear there, and he shot it and made a nice TFL for us.
I think one of the best compliments a linebacker can get is that when you see them stop a run play, you say, was he blitzing or did he read that? And it should look like they're blitzing if they're reading it right.
Yeah, there's definitely times where Brody does his own thing, and we don't discourage him because usually his own thing is right. And there's times where he kind of blitzes he's not supposed to, but he thinks it's right. So he's one of those kids that you don't overcoach, you just let him be a football player.
That's a good point. Good point. All right, so our next one here is you get the ball in the air with a 59-yard play action touchdown pass, and this is in the second quarter.
Yeah, as you can see here, Salem, their safeties are really aggressive. They like to fill in the run, especially in that set there. We have been running the ball well. It's kind of the hard part in defending us is, are you going to overcommit to the run, or are you going to play our pass? And, their safeties were playing really downhill. We saw that open up for us. They're actually their field safety. They're almost made a heck of a play of stopping and coming back to it. But JR threw the ball in the money, and that's the fastest kid on our team, Jaron Blair, right there. He's got
for sure.
And once he hits that open field and hits that next level, it's hard to catch him. So
dangerous football player there. You're right.
Yeah, always great.
As soon as he got the ball in his hands, he was gone.
Yeah, exactly. So when we can turn a 12-yard completion into a 50-yard touchdown, it makes our lives easy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we're going to go back to defense here. What is your edge player? Actually, nope, we got another play offense.
Yeah, so similar concepts here. We're throwing that post again. We kind of set that up in the beginning of the game by showing that bubble action, and then just kind of showing that same bubble action and slipping the number one receiver behind them. And as you can see, their safety actually played that pretty well. JR, if you look at that, almost took off, and then Cash opened late there, and JR threw that in the second window. And once that was complete, there was nobody left, and again hit the gas, and he broke one tackle because he's a strong kid. And you just saw two plays there where we were able to connect and turn 12-yard completion into a 58-some-yard touchdown. We're very happy with that. Hopefully we can do that more often.
Oh, yeah, and you're moving it on the ground. You're moving into the air. Now we're going to get to a little bit of defense here. I love how your edge player on this, I can't remember if it was a sweep or not, but he holds the edge and then comes off and makes the play.
Yeah, and Salem does a good job of this where they start off in that quads look and shifts all over the place. Now they're motioning. So there's a lot going on. That's Johnny Belts there, who's just a really, really good in space player. He's really made our defense go. You see him pat that kid on the head there because little funny story, that's his girlfriend's brother. So there was a little rivalry there, but, they had a good competition. That kid's a heck of a running back. But, Johnny has really solidified our defense by being a great guy on the edge that just knows how to play that. He knows how to take on blocks, get off blocks. He doesn't stay blocked. And, that's a heck of a ball play right there because that's tough. They go from that quads look, they shift, they bring motion, and they run. There's a lot going on in good window dressing, and that's a good job by him staying on his keys and doing what he's coached to do.
Yeah, especially for people just watching, the fact that sometimes you put a guy like that who didn't expect to play the edge, all of a sudden he's brought into the formation. Now he's playing the edge. He's got to have his hands extended, got to make that ball cut back inside, and then he did it all by himself.
Yeah. And when you got a guy that can do all that, you're pretty spoiled. So we're glad that Johnny is on our side and makes plays like that for us.
Absolutely. All right, so here we go. 40-yard quarterback counter play.
Yeah, so again, that's just a nice look off our buck play there that, we run a lot of buck off that and then, faking it with the quarterback and running counter back and JR, again, give him a little bit of crease. He's going to find it. And then what really sticks out there that a lot of the fans don't see and that we preach to our guys is the receiver blocking. We had two receivers blocking that really sprung him. And then he was about a shoelace away from breaking that one himself. And they got him, and he rolled about 5 or 6 rolls. He's like, I couldn't stop rolling because that's how much momentum.
I'll tell you, if we could go back, Rob, to that play real quick, one of the things that I thought was a linebacker nightmare was he looks like he's going to bounce outside, and then he jumps back in.
Right. And that little bounce back in and reverses all the way back, and those two good blocks by those receivers, and then like I said, right there by that shoelace, and he's rolling and still rolling and still rolling. And so I'm sitting there, get up, and he got up, and we finished that drive off.
That's good. All right, so then we come down to this. It's a high-scoring football game. You guys put together a drive right before halftime and end up getting a field goal here.
Yeah, that was crucial. We knew that we had the ball coming back out of half, so we had to get some points on the board, make it a 2-score game, and then get the ball back, and come out of half and score again to really separate ourselves there because we knew Salem had a really good offense and they're going to put points on the board. So the story behind this one, that's D'Angelo Fisk, who I begged to kick in the summer. He's on our soccer team, and he told me no. And then after we had a couple big wins to start the year, all of a sudden he wanted to come kick for the football team. So
Okay.
to see if we were going to be good or not before we committed. But, JR had been kicking for us, and he did a good enough job. But, having a guy like that who can put it through the uprights, especially what people don't realize when you play at Mount Union, you're kicking on college uprights and not high school uprights.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Right. You played there, so you get it. But, sometimes it's harder, definitely, for high school kids. So getting 3 points there before half, and then we had the ball coming out, give us a 10-point lead, and going to put one more in after halftime really swung the game in our momentum.
Yeah, and just winning that 4 minutes in between the last 4 minutes of the half and the first 4 minutes of the next half, a kick like that is huge.
Yeah, I saw Ryan Day talking about that during the Washington game, that they had to win that middle eight, and it made me think about our game on Friday, how we won that middle eight, and it really tipped the game in our favor there in the second half.
Sure did. All right, so the next play is a nice slip screen catch, and I was impressed with the yards after catch on this play.
Yeah, Salem almost picks this thing off if you look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, we ran that on our 2-minute drive going to get that field goal we just alluded to. And I think if we completed it, it would have been a touchdown. But JR was a little tired, and he shorted it, put it in the ground. And so we came back to it in the second half because it was there. And, that kid did a heck of a job reading it. It was one of those ones when the ball left the quarterback's hand, I'm like, oh, this could be bad. And that's Cam Burton there, who made a heck of a catch. And he's just a competitor. I mean, he made a heck of a catch and then broke a couple tackles after the catch, and really – really good play for us and move the chains on that.
Coach, I'm going to give you this compliment in terms of watching your guys, because I saw you earlier in the season and I thought you were doing really well. But at this point in the season, I'm seeing guys catch the ball and they know where to go.
Yeah, and that's just getting that familiar with our offense. A lot of those guys, like I said, were starters last year, so they know exactly what we expect and why we're calling what we're calling. This is Cam's first year playing a full-time offense. He played some offense last year, was mostly a defensive guy. So as you get into this midpoint of the season, the second half of the season, guys are really comfortable with their role within the offense and know what we want them to do when they get the ball in their hands.
You can see it, that's for sure. All right, so we're going to go to our next play here. We're 5-yard touchdown run. I loved how this running back sorts it out, finds his way in. I think he goes in untouched again.
Yeah, that was just another counter action there. And that's kind of been our bread and butter since I've gotten to Alliance. We've been a big time counter team, and those guys know really well how to read that thing. And then you see that's Ravon Hawkins there, just his patience on that. We really preach hitting it in the A gap, but sometimes like that when the A gap's clogged up, you got to make that cut and use your vision as a running back. And especially when you're inside the 10-yard line, you got to find a way to get in the end zone. He did a good job doing that there.
Sure did. Okay, so back to D again. We got these two defensive ends here that just crush in from both sides and make the tackle for a loss.
Yeah, this was a huge play. I think this was the forced fumble. Not yet.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the forced fumble. Yeah, so that was a huge play for us. I mean, that's what our offense gets a ton of love this year, but I don't think our defense gets enough credit for how well they play. Even though we gave up 34 points, I thought we did a really good job holding that offense who had been averaging 50 points again the last 3 weeks. It was an 8-point game there, and they had a drive going, and you're like, oh, boy, this could get interesting. They could go punch us in, score 2, and make it a tie ball game. That was a huge turnover there. We preach the same thing everybody else preaches now, punch the ball on the tackle and stuff like that, and that's what Alex Hartman did on that play. Got the ball out, we went down and scored, and got it back to a 2-score game, and I think that was really the separating point in the second half in the turnover battle.
I agree with you. That seemed like the point where, first of all, you got to keep up with you guys because you continue to score. And when you can take the ball away and then score, it's double dipping, and that really helps you guys out.
Right.
All right, so here we go back to a 37-yard Q counter touchdown.
Yeah, so this is a similar play to kind of what we ran earlier where JR got caught by a shoestring. We ran out of a little bit different formation, but same idea, just trying to dress it up with a little fake in the backfield. running out of a different formation, giving the defense a different look. And like I said, counter's kind of our bread and butter. And JR finds that little seam and hits the next gear. And that's the nice part about him. He plays full-time both ways for us. But, we're in the second half there, and he still has that next gear, which a lot of other guys don't have because of his work ethic and the kind of shape he's in.
And he did not look tired.
No, not at all there.
All right, so now we're going to go back to defense again. We got a nice breakup in the red zone here. Salem's pressing the end zone, and you get a great breakup down here.
Yeah, so this was on a fourth down. That was a huge breakup. They ran a similar play earlier in the first half, and we had him on a fourth down. And that Cletus Monroy, he can sling it, man. He's got a great arm, and he drove it in there in the first half. Our safety was a step late. They kind of went back to that similar concept, and that's Breon Edwards, who had a good read on it, broke on the ball, and he's a really good athlete himself, did exactly what he's coached to do, played the hands, got the ball back, and that was kind of the end of the game. Is how we sealed it off there.
Yeah, well, I do have a play I want to talk about at the end that really finished it, but that'll be a surprise for the end.
Yeah.
So our next play is this tailback. I love how he just continues to keep his feet moving.
Yep. So we had a lot of success running this double H-back formation. Like I said, a lot of good blocking. And then, like you said there, he just continues to just find those little creases, a patient runner. Wish he would have stayed in bounds there to keep the clock moving, but we can talk about that afterwards. But again, when you're running the game out to try and finish it, to get a run like that, it's really demoralizing for a defense.
Oh, yeah, it is. There's no way to get the ball back when the team is running the ball for first downs. All right, so here we go. A quarterback scramble run for a touchdown. I think this is our last touchdown that we have.
Yeah. So here, I can't remember the down and distance exactly, but we wanted to try and take a shot to our backside X there, and they played it really well. I always challenge my quarterbacks that, hey, I should never call a bad play. And so I called a bad play there, and JR said, no, I got you, coach. And he made a bad play into a good play. And when you have a quarterback that can do that, you're going to have a special offense. And JR does that for us a lot. And that was the nail in the coffin.
Yes, for sure. So then Salem finished off the game with an onside kick. And I know in practice how often you try to work on this. I love the fact that this kid gets on the ball.
Yeah. These are hard to duplicate in practice because it's not ever the same speed, and it's hard to coach. And you never know really where they're going to kick it. That was a really good onside kick too.
It was moving.
Yeah, and they timed it up well. Salem timed it up really well. Our guys did a good job there. I thought they were patient, and they attacked the ball when they were supposed to. They blocked for each other, and they covered each other up. And those are those little things that people don't know that you work on like crazy, but you're holding your breath just as much as everybody else is in the stands because it's your first live rep. You can't really duplicate that in practice.
Exactly. And then you're thinking afterwards, okay, at least we got that one in. We recovered it, because at some point you might be week 3 in the playoffs, and it comes down to an onside kick that you have to cover.
Yeah, and we're going to have confidence because we've done it before. So that's huge. All those little things, when you can do a 2-minute drive in the season, you can do a hands team in the season, you can do an end of half field goal in the season. It gives your guys confidence because in those big situations like you're alluding to, you've been there before, and they're going to have confidence in themselves.
Absolutely. Coach, I just want to echo again how a great season you're putting together. I know how much work you put into it. I know how much you care about the Aviators and the process that you put into your program. Just talking to you from the preseason to now, you just really got things rolling, and things don't get rolling unless you care about them a lot and you continue to push them.
Yeah. I mean, it's an everyday battle, with high school kids, and you can never get too high, you can never get too low, and that's part of the battle now with kids too, is trying to keep them grounded and keep them focused on the main thing. But I'm very fortunate. I have a great group of kids that show up and work hard every day. They're super coachable. They love to compete, and when you have kids like that love to compete and love to work, it makes your job coaching a dream. It's when you have to beg them that you're like, why am I doing this? But when you can show up on a Tuesday like we did today, in the hottest day of the fall, I mean, we had cooler weather in week 2, and our kids were just grinding and getting ready for this Friday after a big win over Salem. It makes our lives fun.
You're right, and it is. It's been a hot fall to practice football. It feels like we're playing maybe in the Carolinas or something like that. We get occasional break at night, but practice time is the hottest time of the day right now.
Oh yeah, that sun was beating down today, and it's also that weird time of the fall where the sun's setting at about 5 o'clock. So not only is it hot, but the sun was staring us right in the face, and you're trying to figure out how to position practice so the receivers don't have to look into the sun. The punt return's not looking in the sun. So those are all those little things that a lot of people don't realize that we deal with as coaches. That are those little curveballs you deal with on a daily basis.
When you don't have an indoor facility, you can just go in and practice, right?
Right. We had that battle last Monday. It was storming out, and we went in the gym and we had a little walkthrough in the gym. And I told our guys that was our best gym practice I've ever had, because those are hard to do. Those are hard to do for the kids. It's hard to do for the coaches. But we got something out of it. So yeah, when you're not having the indoor facility like some of these other programs, you have to get very creative.
Absolutely. Well, you're getting it done, Coach. You're finding a way to get it done no matter where you're practicing. Continue to keep it up, the great work. I know you're moving into a lot of your NBC schedule now to finish things out. EBC schedule. Good luck with that, Coach. And again, I appreciate you coming on the show. Best of luck this week and the rest of the season.
Thanks, Troy. I appreciate having me on.
And thank you for joining us tonight on The View from the End Zone on YSN Live.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.